Hello everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I am here today with a brand new Junk Journal July video. This is for day 28, which is Ledger, and we are in our last week. I cannot believe it. I know I said it yesterday, but this is our last week. So we have 4 prompts left, Ledger, Stamp, Ticket, and Patchwork. And what I'm going to do now is go through this week's new paper pack. And you'll probably notice that I did have some fun making these. So I had a very enjoyable few hours doing this. So the first thing we have is for the prompt Ledger. Now I did say yesterday that this prompt said mini book to me. So what I did is I have an antique ledger here, and I took the cover and I made it into, like, I made this graphic into a back, and then I also added a little bit of a spine here, so it would be a little bit bigger, and then I made some pages. And this is for Ticket. You'll see throughout I kind of mixed and matched where things go, just because, you know, I was trying to get maximum page real estate. But there's a bunch of pages for this. Here's some more. This is a page inset, so this fits on the inside of this page, and then this is a ticket. And then more tickets here. This is another inset. These are more pages for the ledger. Okay. Now, you don't need to use all of these pages for the ledger if you don't want to. You could only put, like, you know, 2 in if you wanted. There's, I think, yeah, there's 5 total double pages. And then, also I'll show you what I'll have to show you what I printed on the back of mine. I have mine already cut out, but for the cover, I printed this collage page, week 2 maybe? It was the same week. Oh, I don't know. Don't trust me. Oh, by the way, I messed up really the other night and told you guys that page with the moth on it was from the ephemera stash and was actually from Inkbound. I did correct it on the video, but if you didn't get that correction, I also replied to everybody who mentioned they couldn't find it, and also we posted it over in the Facebook group. So you can just download that page only, either from the Facebook group or from the actual video for the, I think it was Frame, was the day that I did that. So I'm very sorry about that. Okay, I'm sorry for getting off track too. Okay, so yeah, so I printed this collage paper. It's the one with the Abraham Lincoln stamp on it. This is it, because this is the back of it. I printed the wallpaper, the pink wallpaper one on the back of these 2. And then I printed the map page on the back of these 2. Okay, just so you know what I did. And I will remark upon this again when we're actually assembling the book, which is adorable, I have to say. Okay, now let's go on to some images here. So I have given you guys images that are rectangles, that are horizontal rectangles, but not many squares. Since this is patchwork this week, I decided to do a bunch of square images. So there's a sheet of these that are larger squares. And then there are also these collage tiles in 2 styles. So this is like kind of the more darker, intense style. This actually has quilt blocks on it, and it also has some, like, you know, standalone imagery on it. And then this one here is my lighter palette. It has one outlier here because I love this image so much, but it was part of this image batch. I don't know how to explain it, but like this didn't really go with this, even though it's darker colors. These images are all the same style, and then these images are the same style. So that's why this one's over here. But there's a couple of outliers. There's this really light one here and down here. So, you know, it's a good mix. So you can be like, oh, I want to have my patchwork be light, or I want to have my patchwork be dark. So that's those 2. And then we also have stamp for a prompt. So I did tiny envelopes, and again, I did it in 2 palettes here, light and darker. This also has a lot of the stamps on it for the stamp prompt. This has tickets and then 1 blank stamp on it for this one. I just squeezed as many tickets as I could, or tickets, I'm sorry, stamps on here as I could get on here. So, okay, and now let's go to the best part, which is the papers, of which there are several, and lots of florals this week, so I hope you're into florals. If you're here, you probably are. Okay, so I have this one here, which is kind of just like a light, nice, you know, floral sprays here. And then we have a bigger version here. This is just for, you know, scale and color variation. And then I have this nice dark one here. And like I've said, you know, do not feel like you have to print all of these. You know, like, you just print the ones you like, print the ones that speak to you. I give you a lot of options because I want you to love your journal. So that's why I always try to include a lot of papers, a lot of background papers, because I feel like background papers allow you to transform things in ways that, you know, just pre-designed, pre-cut ephemera doesn't. Like, if you don't like these patterns that I put on here, maybe you like this one, right? So maybe you can just print it on the back of this and, you know, print this side in draft and then, you know, cut it out on this side, you know. So it's just like, I just want, you know, want you to be happy with your journal here. Now for patchwork, I did a bunch of patchwork pages. This is a like more abstract one. It's very impressionistic in its style, but I think it also gives you a lot of opportunities here because this would be a good masterboard. This is easy to cut up. You can decorate in the squares here, and then you already have some pre-done ones here. So like there's a lot of options here, stamping, you know, all sorts of things. Cutting this up, using this for little bits. You could even turn some of these into tickets and stamps if you wanted to. Okay, so I have a coffee stained plain one. I gave you kind of a crazy one last week, so I thought I'd give you a more calm one this week. There's also a, where is it? There's also a very understated tea stained one as well. They're very similar, but you know, you can never have enough of these types of papers because you don't want to print 5 of these and put them all in the same journal. So I figured I'd, you know, contribute to your stashes with these 2 papers for just, you know, plain papers to use in your journals. Okay, now this one is a little bit crazy and intense, but I couldn't not, I had to include it, right? Purple is my favorite color, and this has about every shade of purple on here you could possibly dream of, and I love it. It's great. I think it would probably be best used to cut up, part of a masterboard, something like that, but just a lot of great options on here, and it fits into patchwork. And then I have a smaller patchwork here. You can tell I love patchwork. This one is like very painty and artistic, and it's more defined. You know, all the little squares are defined, or rectangles are defined, so it's not as, you know, like I said, the other one was kind of more abstract. This one's more definite. And also, you know, nice light colors on this one, pretty pastels, purples, greens, cream. And then I have another one of these. This one's plain. And I just feel like, again, these are good for masterboards, good for cutting up. I feel like you can never have enough of this type of paper, you know, because you can transform this into just about anything here. You could turn these, you cut this out here and make it into a tag or a journal card. You know, you could cut, you know, rectangles out of them, turn those into tags, stuff like that. And then another more defined version of the same sort of patchwork style here of these different. This one has more decoration on it, so you could use this as your masterboard and cut this up and then turn this into your ephemera without even adding anything to it. Right, and then I have this like sage green floral here, and that is our last one. Okay, so hopefully you guys will find some things to love in there, and this will help you finish out your journals with a bang. I know we only have 4 days left, but I wasn't gonna like skimp on the papers just because we only have 4 days left. So there's plenty of stuff for all the themes that are left included in the kit, as well as lots of papers for you to like experiment with and just have fun with, making like ephemera and all kinds of stuff out of. Okay, Oh, did I mention? Oh, yeah, there's also, on one of the pages, there's a, like, image ticket strip as well. So, I don't know if I mentioned that. There's just tickets and stamps all throughout the whole thing. These are just the ones I have here because I just cut up my ledger pieces here. Okay, so these are rounded. I went ahead and rounded the corners on my inside pages. I don't get along with my corner rounder very well, but for the most part, I think they came out okay. So I did mess up one of them. I'm not sure which one it is, but the corner rounder every once in a while goes rogue and just like does that thing where it puts a notch in it instead of like the thing. So perhaps I put the paper in it incorrectly. But anyway, to start with today, let's make a mini ledger, okay? And then we're going to make a pocket, and then we're going to put it in our journal. So I'm going to show you, these are all of my pages, okay, for my mini ledger that we're about to make. These are all the ones that are in the kit, and that's how they look in the kit, okay? And then I went ahead and printed maps on the back of one. I printed that collage page on the back of this one, and wallpaper on the back of this one. And then the inside of my ledger is also this collage paper from week 2, maybe week 3, I'm not sure. Yeah, so you'll just have to check. This map page, I think, also from the same one, and then this one was from last week, because I did the 2 blue and pink wallpapers, so, okay. I also have some of my masterboard ephemera left for this one, and I did find one more piece of my blue ephemera that I misfiled, so I still have, I think I have 2 pieces of blue left, and I have a couple pieces of the pink. So, all right, so let's get to going here. This is going to be a very simple assembly. Now, you just have to decide what order you want your pages in. I know this is what it's going to look like when you open it. I wanted to have, like, I just thought it would be fun to have maps and stuff on the inside of my book here. So that's why I chose the map paper. And I think I'm going to go like this, and then I think I can do that. Let's see how that, oh, I still have one more. Okay, wait, let's see how this looks. This could use something else here. Okay, let's see how this looks. That is so pretty. Okay, yeah, I think I can definitely live with this guy here. Okay, so we're gonna just, I'm gonna do a quick 3-hole pamphlet stitch on this, because for me personally, this is the fastest way to bind something. If you wanted to, you could hinge bind this, and that, all that means is you're using a piece of paper to just connect these two, right? So instead of being like folded up like mine are inside of each other, yours would be like this. And then you just put a piece of paper to bind each one of these together. I did a hinge binding on pop-up, which is day 4. Okay, so if you need to know how to do that, you can go back to that video and see that. I find personally that, you know, just the pamphlet stitch is just the easiest one for me. So I'm going to go ahead and go with here. So I have these all nested together. And then I'm going to put them in here, and I'm going to kind of get them to where I want them on the signature. If you wanted to, you could put 2 signatures in here. This is wide enough to accommodate 2 signatures. If you wanted 2 signatures, I've decided in the end that I think 1 signature is fine for this many pages. But if you wanted 2 signatures, just score here, and so that your spine is wider, and you should be fine. Because I made the pages just a, you know, a little bit smaller, so it should accommodate that if you want to do that. Okay, so let's see. I gotta get a bulldog clip here. And then I'm just going to clip these guys on and punch my holes through. This needs to be a little bit down, I think. The most important thing is you want to make sure that these are good, you know, all the way down into the fold here. Also, one of the things I wanted to mention here is that like I'm going to do a video on signatures. It's just that obviously I'm making a video a day right now, and I just can't seem to squeeze another one in. It's just, you know how it is. But someone had asked in my signature questionnaire thing, you know, about holes like being too big. And if your holes are too big and gaping, it means that you probably used too big of a needle, okay, for your signature. The other thing is that when you have an awl like this, it's graded. So like the beginning, the hole is tiny. The further you shove this into the hole, the bigger your hole is going to get, right? So when you're starting out, you want to just start out with going through it. You know, you don't want to push the hole all through it. You just want to make, you know, a reasonably sized hole, right? Like, because you have to get your thread and stuff through there. But you don't want to jam your hole all through because that will give you a really big hole. Okay, I got this one here. Okay, and then I have a needle which has a pretty decent sized eye. I don't know if you can probably see that, but I already have ink all over my hands. But it has a decent sized eye, but it's still pretty thin. And if you want, I can link the needles below, because I just restocked, because if there's anything I lose like crazy, it's definitely needles. All right, and then I just have some waxed thread here, probably way too long of a piece, but that's okay. We'll just use it up for other stuff. I'm just gonna thread it here. So I just pull that through there. Okay, then you just have to decide, you know, do you want your threads to come out on the back or on the front? Okay, so wherever you want your threads to come out, just like that's where you're gonna tie it at the end. So there's gonna be two dangly pieces. So you just have to decide where you want them. I'm gonna have them on the inside of my book. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this through. I'm gonna hold on to this end. Okay, and I'm gonna go up to my top and just go right through there. And then I need to go through the hole here. And I'm gonna pull that through. Okay, and then I'm gonna come all the way down to the bottom. And I'm gonna go through this one. And then I'm going to go back in through that middle hole that I started with. Now make sure that the needle is coming up on the opposite side of the thread from your starting one. Okay, so this is the end that I started with, and then this is my live end, basically, of where the needle is. So I'm going to take that off of there. I'm just going to tighten it, but not too tight, because you don't want to put too much stress on your holes. You can do like a visual check, okay? And then I'm just going to tie it off. Somehow I mixed that up. Okay, and I got a little knot. I'm just going to leave a little dangle here. Okay, so, you know, I always leave a little bit while I'm working, just so that I can, if I decide that I want to do something like add a couple beads or a charm or whatever, I still have that option. And then when I'm finished with my project, then I can go ahead and cut, you know, trim those down to size. I'm going to press my book down. It's actually kind of chubby. It's chubbier than I thought it would be. But it's so cute. I have a theory also about the holes. Like sometimes your holes get too big. And I think it's about, there's like a delicate balance of all of these things, like including the weight of your paper. Because like when you use like cardstock, the holes are, sometimes it seems to me like the heavier the cardstock, the bigger the holes get. And also with the lighter paper. So you want to like be in the middle. I'm going to test this theory out and see. I'm going to try binding like 60 pound, 110 pound. I'll even bind 32 pound and see what fares the best, right? Because no matter what you're going to be doing, your hole is functional and you are going to be it is going to get pulled on. It's going to go back and forth. So, you know, I think there is a balance though on paper weight, thread, you know, needle size, all of that, where you could get an optimum result. But for the most part, for every day, really just use like a thinner needle for smaller holes, and then that's it. Because even when I pushed this needle through these holes, the needle was still a little bit wider than the all hole that I had poked. Just as a rambling aside on binding things, because generally this is quite easy. It just takes a few minutes, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. So, you know. All right, so let me grab my journal and let's take a look at this. One of the things I thought I might do is do for the next couple of days, so that'll be the next 3 days, do a little bit of decorating in this ledger as well as in my journal. So you guys can let me know if you are drastically opposed to this idea or if you think it's a good idea. I would appreciate knowing that, but I thought it would be fun to maybe put some little pieces like tickets and stamps and stuff in this little book and make it like a little pretend memory book. You know, I have, you know, an active imagination, so I love to make like little things like this. My kids crack me up, or they did, well, when they were little, they were so funny because my daughter is older by 4 years, and she got a Nintendo like 3DS for Christmas one year, but my son was too young, and you know, and he was a little bit jealous, so he went in and he crafted himself one out of paper and was delighted with it. So, you know, I feel like that kind of level of imagination is amazing, right? There was not, she would bring stuff home from school, you know, and he would be like, oh, he would want it too, so he would just make himself one of whatever she brought home. And obviously, you know, it was not perfect, but, you know, he still loved it. He loved that 3DS. I still have it because it was so cute. All right, I'm sorry. I'm getting off topic on everything. I need to pick a paper for a pocket here. I'm not sure, like, 100% what I'm gonna use. I have a couple of options because I have a bunch of stuff printed. I do have one of these script papers printed, plus I have all of the new papers printed. So let me see what. Okay, I'm feeling like adding a bold floral print to this here. So I'm thinking about using a combo of these two. I feel like they go really well with what I have here, which is these yellow pages. Let me just adjust my little opening band here to accommodate my newest pages. This one too. I have like just over half of a signature left for the next couple of days. So I think I'm going to just kind of willy-nilly decorate them with what I have left of ephemera, what I have left of, I have a bunch of cut ephemera that I haven't used. So I can also put some pockets in here and make some fun ephemera and stuff too. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is make a pretty tall pocket with this. Let's see here how tall it should be. And then I'm going to make a lower pocket with this one. I'm going to just kind of get an idea of how big I should make this. I'm thinking about that big. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to use this here and cut this. I was going to tear it, but then I thought, maybe you better not do that. Okay, so I'm going to do this here. Okay, and then I think I have 5.5. Let's go with 6 to start. Okay, all right, so here's what we're gonna do is I'm going to make a pocket, with tabs right now for you guys so you can see like how quickly you can make them yourself. I'm going to use a scoreboard. You do not need to use a scoreboard. You can just fold it. But because I want this to go on here like exactly, I need to measure, unfortunately. So I think what I'm going to do is a score at 1/4 of an inch in on each side because I made this 1/2 inch wider than the page that I needed it to be. Okay. And then I have my little thing here. I have this here. This is my mini scoreboard, which some people commented on. This is actually from Crafter's Companion, and it was part of this box that they did, I have to say, a long time ago, where it was like $20, and it was crazy full of stuff, and this was one of the things in it, and I love it because it fits so easily on my desk. My other scoreboard is 12 by 12. It's huge. This is perfect. I mean, and sometimes you need a 12 by 12, right? All right, so let me just score this really quickly. Let's score this at 1/4. I also have like a theory that the line things are narrower on this one than they are on my 12 by 12. So I can get like, I mean, which would make sense because you're making like a smaller one. You're making like a smaller thing, right? Okay, so let's take off 1/4 of an inch here, and then I'll check and make sure that it works. That's 1/8. This is 1/4. I could have given myself bigger tabs, but I think this will be fine. Oh, let me just make sure it fits. Oh my god, that's almost perfect. So that's what you get for measuring. So lesson learned there. And then I think I'll do like 1/2 inch on the bottom so that it has a good, like, you know, solid bottom here. I hope this is 1/2 inch, I'm guessing. The measure, I like doing it upside down, and I guess that's probably strange. This has a lip on it so that I know it's straight, you know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, I don't know how it happens, but sometimes it ends up like not being straight. Okay, I'm gonna do this here. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out those the little corners where like basically where the folds overlap, right here and here. All right, and then all you need to do is cut your corners. They do not have to be the same. You just generally want to cut them back, just to keep the bulk away, you know, from your corners. Don't cut, I mean, you know, you want to cut like not too steep of an angle, but because you want your stuff to stay in your pocket. I just went a little crazy right there. Okay. All right, so now I have my own custom made tabbed pocket to put on my thing, and it fits my space exactly. Okay, so now I need, I hope I didn't shake the camera there, some glue here, and I just refilled this glue finally, so it's just ready to go. Like before, it was like I was getting the dregs out of the bottom. And I'm going to do this one. So I just want to try to line this up on the edge. And then I just, my fat journal here. Make sure that goes down flat. I want that to go down flat on the page too. The page unfortunately is curling right there. Because, or it's bending in, you know, because of all my bulky business that I have in here. Okay. So I'm hoping, yeah, my little gussets, like, just give me just enough room for this guy, because he needs a little room to breathe. So let's put another pocket on here. I'm trying to decide how I want to do this one. And like how tall I want it to be. I don't know what I'm putting in this pocket yet, but I want to make sure this closes okay. This is like a super fat bone folder. It doesn't work great for this kind of stuff. This one's a little bit smaller. All right, so that just makes sure that that's in there. Here's my cute little book. Okay. All right, so let's do this again. We do this at like 3 inches. Let's try that. And then when I put, okay, so let's do the, I'm gonna cut out what I want here, which is probably right here. I'm gonna go to 3.5. All right, then I'm gonna see how that looks. That looks good. Okay, so let me go to 6.5. Oh man, I hate that. Okay. That's gonna be 6.25. But I wanna go to 6.5. This is when it would like be helpful to have a 12 by 12, huh? All right, let's cut like 2 inches. I want to get this, I want this flower to be on my pocket. That's what I'm trying to make happen here. Okay, so now I have my thing backwards here. Okay. I that gives me 6.5. Okay, so with 6.5 means I can take off 1/4 of an inch on either side. Okay, so I cut this at 6.5, which means I can score 1/2 an inch for my tabs instead of, let's see, the 1/4 of an inch, which I thought was a little bit narrow. Yeah, I have to be careful because I'm using this like stylus and it is extremely pointy. Okay, now I'm going to do this again and just notch out my corners. You could just like cut across if you wanted to, but I prefer this method because I know that it makes me feel more secure that I'm going to end up where I want to be. Oh my gosh, I made that one too wide. Oh no, does that mean my pocket's not going to fit right? It should be okay. It actually might fit a little bit better because it's not going to go all the way to the inside seam. Okay, let me just cut away my little corners here. Okay, let me just get rid of all those. Okay, so what do we want here? Okay, I'm going to use an edge punch on the top of this here just for a little extra decoration here. I should probably... I think my tab might be getting caught in this, but that's okay. That's okay, because I'm going to have to cut it away anyway right there, so... Okay, so now I have this here. It ends at a weird place, but I can't do anything about that. Okay, so I'm going to put that right on there, just like this. It's actually, because I messed up my scoring by like 1/8 of an inch, it's actually going to fit better into the spine than this pocket did. Okay. It's so exciting to have the glue actually coming out. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on here. Okay, so now I have those in, and I have my book in. So for today, I think what I'm going to do here is grab these, and I'm going to put these in my book. And then over the next couple of days, we will go ahead and see, I messed that corner up. Just add some extra decoration to this little book. I think it will be a little fun side project, especially since we're down to our last week. And there's lots of ephemera in the kit, so we can just cut up a bunch of our squares and go to town. And then if you guys have any requests of anything that you wanted to know or learn or do before the end of this, I should have probably told you to say this last week, but if you have any requests of things that I could incorporate in here, please let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to incorporate those. Let's see here. It's hard to pick what to put this on top of. Okay, I think I know. Okay, well, I think I'm going to put this here. And, okay, all right, so look at what I was saying is if there's anything you guys wanted me to incorporate or add or use or do, please feel free to put that into the comments, and I will do my best to work it in. And if I don't get it in here, I will certainly work it into our next project. I think this kind of looks sweet with the light blue. I was going to put it here, but then I decided I think I like it better over here. Yeah, because I have more stuff planned. So after Junk Journal July is over, we'll be moving into another one of our monthly projects, and I have something fun planned for August. So, okay, what do you guys think? There's my thing. I got my 2 pockets. I have absolutely no idea what's going in my second pocket. And we're going to have to make something else probably to go in behind this, or, you know, so if you guys have any suggestions, throw those in the comments. Any requests, throw those in the comments. And then I will be back tomorrow with another video. And we are going to be doing, how did I already forget what it was? Oh, okay, it's stamp tomorrow. So I figure what I will do is, just to give you a little heads up, incorporate the stamps with stamps of the rubber nature. So that's for tomorrow, and for today I think we are all set, and I hope you had fun. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you tomorrow.